Are you looking for the best NFL bets around? Then get ready for the NFL's Week 8 IDP Plus Moneyline podcast. Welcome back to the IDP Plus Moneyline podcast. How's everybody doing? Happy Week 8 to all. Hope you guys had a good Week 7. We did over here another winning week, 7-5 overall for the podcast, 2-1 in the article. That's 3 weeks in a row of a winning record. So things are looking pretty good. We got some good stuff for you for Week 8. Before we get into it, though, these are not even suggestions. We're literally just discussing the bets I might be making personally. Set a limit and stick to it. For help with problem gambling, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. And let's remember, use these as an idea generator, not just something to blindly tail. Tweak it to, what you want it to look like, and hopefully I give you some good ideas. And that's kind of the idea behind this. All right, let's get into it. We're going to start with no London games this week. We're done with that for a while. So we're going to start at Sunday, 1 p.m. Titans at Lions. As it stands right now, Tennessee is getting 11.5 points. Detroit is giving 11.5, minus 110 either way for that. Over under of 45 points. Money line is Tennessee plus 525. Detroit minus 750. So Vegas is fairly certain that Detroit's going to win this game. I agree with them completely. I just don't like the line. 11.5 is kind of a weird number, right? If Detroit wins by a touchdown and a field goal, we lose. I don't like that. The denominations of the winning team are usually in segments of 7-3, 7 or 3, or 7 and 3 put together. So we always want to cover that eventuality. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to tweak the line a little bit by 2 points. We're going to go Detroit minus 9.5, alt line at minus 146. And that's going to make this a little bit safer. Detroit just needs to win by a touchdown and a field goal now at the cost of the price by just a little bit. So Detroit should kill these guys. They've got the second overall offense in yards per game, third overall in points per game, third overall in passing yards per game, fourth overall in rushing yards per game. Tennessee does not have that. Tennessee does have, though, a top 5 defense in yards per game, but they are allowing 24 points per game, which is the third worst in the league. And offensively, Tennessee is within the bottom third of the league for rushing, dead last for passing, and 27th overall for points per game at just 17.7. Compare that to Detroit's 30.3 points per game. That's about a 12-point difference. So we're giving ourselves a pretty good buffer here, about a 2.5-point buffer from the alt line that we created. So we should be looking good there. Detroit minus 9.5, alt line at minus 146. And that will take us to the next Sunday 1 p.m. game. It is Ravens at Browns. As things stand right now, Baltimore is giving 8.5. Cleveland is getting 8.5, minus 110 either way on that. Over under of 44.5 points. Money line is Baltimore minus 410. Cleveland plus 320. And we're going to do the same shit here we just did with the Lions. We're going to take the Vegas line that we should automatically hate always and tweak it to make it safer and more likely to happen. We'll say Ravens minus 6.5, alt line at minus 152. And I mean, if you want me to shoot you straight on this, I think it's going to be a bloodbath blowout, and Baltimore may win by like 20. But Vegas thinks it's going to be an 8.5-point game, so we're going to tweak it down a little bit, make it safer, make it more likely for us to win this bet. So Baltimore is the number 1 overall team for rushing yards at 210 per game. That's pretty good. Lamar Jackson has also cleared 250 passing yards in every game except 2 this season. He's already got 15 touchdown passes, which is incredible. This is a balanced offense that Baltimore has. That's going to make things very difficult for Cleveland defensively this week. Baltimore has a positive turnover differential. Cleveland most certainly does not. Baltimore is also the hottest team in the league right now. They've won 5 straight. They beat a really good Washington team, an excellent Buffalo team, and a really good Tampa Bay team last 3 weeks in a row. Cleveland, no more Amari Cooper. Jameis Winston should be under center this week. And, whether you think he's good, bad, indifferent. He is technically the third string quarterback, so that's not good for him. And the only thing that's kind of working for Cleveland right now is the run game, and they are up against a Baltimore rushing defense that is the best in the league and allowing fewer than 80 yards per game on the ground. Not to mention, when Cleveland gets into a negative game script, how do they plan on getting back into it without Amari Cooper? Njoku can only catch so many passes. Baltimore's not dumb. They will take him out of the game if they have to. So this one on paper is very straightforward. Baltimore should absolutely kill these guys. And, me saying -6.5 outline at -152 is really just to make it safe so that this hits for us. Realistically, this should be a bloodbath, so you can go nuts with this if you want to. But yep, that's what I got for that one. Ravens -6.5 outline -152. And that'll take us to the next 1 o'clock game on Sunday. It is Packers at Jaguars. Right now, Green Bay is favored by 3.5. Jacksonville's getting 3.5, -110 either way. Over under of 49 points. So Vegas thinks we'll get a shootout. Money line is Green Bay -192, Jacksonville +160. And I was looking at this one trying to find, we've talked about this. You want to try and find a trend or a stat or a weakness or something that we can exploit and find value within, and then craft a bet that takes advantage of that value and gives us a good chance to win the bet. There was not much in this one, but something I did see that's been a trend since Jordan Love came back, and even week 1 when he was there as well before he got hurt, is that the Packers score a shitload of points when Jordan Love is under center. So we're going to take Packers total team points over 24.5 at -148. So right now, Green Bay scores 26.6 points per game total. So that gives us about a 2-point clearance right there. But when we get rid of those 2 Malik Willis games, we're getting 28 points per game with Jordan Love under center, giving us about a 4-point clearance right there. So, that looks pretty good to start with. Not to mention, Jacksonville is the third worst defense in the league in allowing points per game at 27.7. They're the 5th worst in yards per game. They have a -4 turnover differential, whereas Green Bay is +6. So, these are just 2 teams that are in different stratospheres, so to speak, right? So we're not even asking Green Bay to win this game or to win it by a certain margin. We're just asking them to get over 24 points, which is very doable against this suspect Jacksonville defense that will once again probably be without Foye Oluokun this week. Tyson Campbell just came back from IR. He's not even playing his full snaps. He's obviously a little rusty. They got some injury concerns going on in the defense there. So I think this is a slam dunk. Packers over 24.5 team points, -148. And that will take us to the next 1 o'clock game. It is Colts at Texans as things stand right now. Houston is giving 5. Indy is getting 5, -110 either way. Over under 46 points. Money line is Indy +180. Houston -218. And we saw this game in week 1, so we have a pretty good idea of what this is going to look like. And Anthony Richardson played that week 1 game, so we know kind of exactly what this thing's going to look like. The last few weeks, we've been targeting the Indianapolis run defense because it's horrendous. It's the worst in the league. And we've been successful doing that. We had a chain over on his yards. We had the Jacksonville running back. I picked the wrong one, but Bigsby was over his yards. Let me see. What else do we have here? So, and then, in week 4, Pittsburgh rushed for 122 yards. Week 2, Green Bay rushed for 261 yards against these guys. In week 1, Joe Mixon, who we're targeting again today, ran for 159 yards against these guys. So we're going to take Joe Mixon over 70 rushing yards at -150. And quite frankly, you could probably turn that up a little bit if you want to. 80, 90, 100 yards, probably a pretty good bet. We've already seen this movie, and Mixon ran for 159 yards the first time around. So no reason not to think that he should be able to easily clear 70 rushing yards at -150 against the worst rush defense in the entire league. that's letting up 160 plus rush yards a game. So that seems like a pretty good one right there. I like that quite a bit. Joe Mixon over 70 rush yards at minus 150. And that will take us to Jets at Patriots, next 1 o'clock game. Right now, Jets are giving 7, Pats are getting 7, minus 110 either way. Lower total at 41 points. Money line is Jets minus 310, Patriots plus 250. I do kind of like the Vegas spread a little bit, but I'm just going to tweak it slightly. We're going to go down a half point. We're going to say Jets minus 6.5 alt line at minus 126. And this is more of a gut feeling, but here we go. If there was ever a game where New York figures their shit out, it's this one, right? They've just added Devontae Adams. Brees Hall is looking good again. Hassan Reddick ended his holdout and will be back this week to play football for them to help that pass rush. CJ Mosley is healthy again and getting back to his normal, well, not his normal snaps, but he's playing again. He's within the starting lineup again. He's the captain of the defense again. So, things are looking really good for that aspect. Um, and, the Vegas line is kind of designed to screw us. So the exact one touchdown win could be a push, could be a loss, depending on the sportsbook you're using, right? So we will tweak it down half a point. In this way, if the Jets win by a touchdown or more, we're good to go. And for me, the key matchup here is this New England offense versus the Jets defense. We all know about the Jets offense. It's iffy, but they have the tools to score enough points to make this happen, right? So, the Patriots are the third worst team in the league for points per game, third worst team in the league for yards per game, within the worst third of the league for rushing yards per game, second worst team across the entire league for passing yards per game, and are up against a Jets defense that is within the top 10 for yards per game, top third for points per game, and second overall for pass defense. So, very good Jets defense, getting healthy at the right time, getting us on Reddick back right when they need him, going up against a very bad slash suspect Patriots offense that still has a rookie under center that's, he's doing okay. It's definitely an improvement over Brissett, but it ain't there yet. That's fairly obvious. So, could be wrong here, could be an upset. This is not one of my favorite bets, but on paper, the Jets should win this game by at least a touchdown. So we're going to go Jets minus 6.5, alt line minus 126. All righty. And that takes us to the next 1 o'clock game. It is Eagles at Bengals. Actually, like this matchup quite a bit for many things this week. So right now, Eagles are getting 3. Cincinnati's giving 3, minus 110 either way. Over under 48 points. So Vegas thinks we'll get a shootout. Money line is Eagles plus 124, Cincy minus 148. So I always like that setup for offensive fantasy football, DFS, cornerback production, etc. When you see a giant total like that and then a small spread, that's Vegas telling us it's going to be a shootout. They don't know who's going to win. So it's probably going to be a back and forth game. And those are great for production, for all kinds of production. So I like that quite a bit. Within this matchup, something that stood out is the rush defense for Cincinnati. They're allowing 136 yards per game on the ground. So we'll take Saquon over 70 rushing yards, minus 160. You can turn that up a little bit if you want to, but this feels like a nice, safe number with a decent price that should be pretty likely to happen. So Saquon has gone over 70 rushing yards in every single game this season except for one. So, he does it far more often than not. This game, like we just talked about, has the huge total, the small spread. So that's an ideal setup for lots of offense back and forth. Saquon's been excellent this season. This is a known weakness on Cincinnati that, the Eagles are not dumb. They will target it. There should be a heavy dose of Saquon this week. So I think we're looking pretty good there. Saquon over 70 rushing yards, minus 160. Start your season with a bang with IDP Plus. Use the promo code PROPS, PROPS, for 20% off your subscription. Gain access to exclusive tools, in-depth IDP articles, and much more. Plus, don't miss out on our private subscriber Discord. Sign up now at idpplus.com/membership. Alrighty, that will take us to the next 1 o'clock game, divisional affair. We got the Falcons going to Tampa Bay to play the Bucks. Right now, it's a bit of a pick 'em. We got Atlanta -2.5, Tampa Bay +2.5, -110 either way. If you guys remember, we saw this game a few weeks ago. It was awesome. It was the Cousins 4 or 5 touchdown game, 500-yard passing game that went back and forth, went to overtime, and had a shitload of offense. So if we even get half of that this time, we'll be looking pretty good. Total is 46 points. Money line is Atlanta -142, Tampa Bay +120. So I was looking at this one to try and find something we could exploit, and I think I did. We're going to take Drake London over 60 rushing yards at -155. And once again, that's just an idea. If you don't like the price, turn up the volume. Go 70 receiving yards, 80 receiving yards, 90 receiving yards. Knock yourself out, right? I just think that 60 receiving yards at -155 is likely to happen. That's why I'm saying it. So against this Tampa Bay defense that is right now the fourth worst overall across the league, allowing 254 passing yards per game. And they're missing starting cornerback Jamel Dean for the next few weeks. So, London has cleared 60 receiving yards the last 5 weeks in a row and had 154 the last time we saw this game against Tampa Bay in week 5. And in week 5, Tampa Bay had a healthy secondary. They had Tyke Smith, who's going to be out this week with a concussion. They had Jamel Dean, who's on IR right now. Those guys are gone, right? And shit, they might not have even had Antoine Winfield back then. So, sorry, they might that might have been the first game he came back. So, things have changed in Tampa. The secondary is shredded a little bit. And, even when they were healthy, we literally just saw this game and Drake London went crazy, with 154 receiving yards the last time, 3 weeks ago, legitimately. So this feels like a really good setup here. Um, the odds are good that Tyrek Funderburk, that is actually a player in the NFL, I had no idea, is going to be a cornerback that is lined up on Drake London quite a bit this week. That's not great. That is a undrafted rookie corner. That is correct on Pro Bowler Drake London this week. So that's probably not great for Tampa Bay. So this is a good setup for Drake London to get over 60 receiving rushing, 60 receiving yards at -155. Feels pretty likely in this scenario. So that's what we're going to go with. And that'll take us to Cardinals at Dolphins, another 1 o'clock game. Right now, Arizona is getting 3.5 points. Miami is giving 3.5, -110 either way. Over under of 46 points. Money line is Arizona +150, Miami -180. And within this matchup, some things stand out, including we're getting Tua back this week, right? So Tua himself, who knows? He doesn't want to wear the Guardian cap. He's one hit away from being annihilated forever, as is tradition. So hopefully he gets through the game in one piece. That's all I'm hoping for. But assuming that's the case, we're going to take Tyreek Hill over 80 receiving yards at -115. So Tyreek has not had a quote unquote real quarterback under center for him since Tua went out. He's been chomping at the bit to go nuts, right? He's losing his mind having these backup quarterbacks that can't give him the ball. So, that's a good, factor to begin with. And then on top of that, Arizona is the 7th worst in the league for allowing passing yards. And the odds are good that whatever passing yards there are from Tua this week, a good chunk of them are going to go to Tyreek Hill. We all know Tyreek Hill. He's one of those receivers that just will not shut the hell up until he gets the targets. So he's going to get the targets. Beyond that, Arizona's best cornerback, Sean Murphy Bunting, suffered a neck injury last week, has not practiced this week, at least at the time of recording. So it's looking like rookie corner Max Melton will be getting the start. If that's the case, we've either got Max Melton, Starling Thomas, or Garrett Williams that's going to be responsible for Tyreek freaking Hill. None of those names sound like Darrell Revis, Jalen Ramsey, or Patrick Surtain to me. So I'm fairly certain he's going to smoke whoever it is out of that cornerback core he lines up on. And with Tua back under center, he'll have the quarterback to make that happen. So that feels pretty good. Tyreek Hill over 80 receiving yards, minus 115. All righty. And that takes us to our first 4 o'clock game. Should be a good one. We got Bills going to Seattle to play the Seahawks. Right now, Buffalo is giving 3. Seattle is getting 3, minus 110 either way. Decent over under at 47 points. Money line is Buffalo minus 162, Seattle plus 136. And we are going to target a weakness here. We're going to take James Cook over 60 rushing yards at minus 120. He's gone over that line in half of the games he's played this season, and he should be in an ideal setup to do so again this week against the Seattle rush defense that's allowing 146 yards per game on the ground. They are the 5th worst team in the entire league for rushing defense. Yeah, so Ray Davis muddies the waters here a little bit. I get that. But in general, there should be enough to eat here in terms of carries for Cook to get past this line and there to be some leftover for Davis to get some carries as well. Buffalo's not dumb. They know what they're doing. They'll have a game plan in place that targets this weakness. In fact, this is such a glaring weakness that Seattle literally just today traded for Ernest Jones, who definitely will not be up to speed yet for this game. So if he does play, it's just going to be on instinct. It's just going to be on, basic defensive sets and whatnot. He's not going to know the playbook by this point in time. He's been there not even a day yet. So, this is a known weakness, so much of a weakness that Seattle's making trades to try and fix it. And the other part of this is their defensive line has been shredded with injury most of the season as well. So that's not helping their rush defense either. So we've got a suspect rush defense. So we'll take James Cook over 60 rushing yards at minus 120. Want a little extra in your fantasy football bankroll? Deposit just $10 with FanDuel and get $50 in bonus bets. It's the perfect boost to kickstart your season. Don't wait. Claim your bonus now at idpplus.com/FanDuel. Alrighty. That takes us to the next 4 o'clock game. We got Saints at Chargers. Right now, the Saints are getting 7. Chargers are giving 7, minus 110 either way. Lower over under 40.5 points. Vegas thinks it'll be a defensive struggle. I tend to agree. Money line is Saints plus 250, Chargers minus 310. And we're going to do what we've been doing most of this show already. We're going to target a known weakness. A lot of running back overs this week. That's just the way it fell, right? I'm always looking for something we can exploit, value we can exploit to make our bet more likely to hit. And it just so happened this week that it lined up that we have a shitload of rush defenses that are bad going up against pretty good running backs. So that's going to work out in our favor, I think. With that in mind, we're going to take J.K. Dobbins over 70 rushing yards at minus 160. Feel free to turn that up if you want to. He's done this in half of the games he's played this season already, and he's getting a Saints rush defense that's allowing 147 yards per game on the ground. They've also had health issues. Stinky Pete Warner hasn't been in the lineup. They've had to go with undrafted 2023 player Anthony Orgy at inside linebacker, among others, as backup options. That's not helping their rush defense whatsoever. Orgy has a 46 PFF grade, so he's obviously a defensive liability at the moment. They also just lost one of their best run stoppers in the secondary, Paulson Adebo, who's had a absolutely insane amount of tackles this season, and a lot of them on run defense. Will be gone for the rest of the season. And they're going to have Spencer Rattler under center. So I'm assuming, like we've seen so far, there's going to be a lot of mistakes, a lot of turnovers, a lot of 3 and outs. And this will give the Chargers plenty of opportunity to control the game script and to run their offense. And what have we seen from the Chargers? Their offense is run J.K. Dobbins a billion times, play good defense, limit mistakes, and hopefully win the game that way. So this all lines up very, very well for us this week, right? We've got a team that loves to run to begin with, a pretty good running back, an easy, a line that's realistic over 70, and then up against a bad rush defense. So I think this looks pretty good. J.K. Dobbins over 70 rush yards, minus 160. Alrighty, that takes us to divisional showdown. Chiefs at Raiders. Right now, KC is favored by, or sorry, KC's giving 9.5. The Raiders are getting 9.5, -110 either way. Lower over under or 41 points. Money line is KC -440. Raiders plus 340. So, same deal, different team, right? We're going to go with the obvious weakness here. We're going to take Kareem Hunt over 70 rush yards at -105. He's gone over this line significantly the last two games where he's been the clear cut number one running back. 78 and then 102 rush yards last 2 weeks. So 3 weeks ago, when he was losing snaps to Carson Steele and Samaje Perine, he only missed this number by 1 yard. So he's either done this or been close to this the last 3 weeks in a row. And he's obviously cemented himself as the best running back option there right now. So he should get the vast majority of the carries this week. So Vegas is the 10th worst team in the league for rush defense. They're allowing 137 yards per game on the ground. KC has all kinds of problems in the wide receiver room. Hopkins did just get there in a trade, but he doesn't know the playbook yet, so any involvement would probably be limited this week. Smith Schuster's already out. Rashee Rice has been out. Travis Kelce's been super quiet. So this is the way. They've been pounding the rock. They will continue to pound the rock against a subpar Raiders rush defense, and he should get over this line rather easily, I would think. Kareem Hunt over 70 rush yards -105. All righty, and that takes us to the next 4 o'clock game. Quite a few 4 o'clock games this week. No one on bye this week, so that kind of tracks. It is Panthers at Broncos. Right now, Carolina's getting 9.5 points. Denver's giving 9.5, -110 either way. Over under 41.5 points, so a defensive struggle is looking likely. Money line is Carolina plus 350, Denver -455, and Dalton will be out this week. So it's back to Bryce Young. So this could be a bloodbath. I'd be A-okay with Denver -6.5 alt line. It's just a crappy price. 9.5's a bit too rich for my blood. Denver's good, but we've also seen them screw the pooch this season, so I don't trust that. What I do trust is Javonte Williams over 60 rush yards at -130. So he's cleared this line in 3 of the last 4 games. And not only is Denver favored by 10, so we're probably going to get garbage time and salting the clock away carries, but Carolina is also the worst team, first or second worst team in the league for rush defense. It's them in Indy. They're allowing 162 yards per game on the ground. That's absolutely insane. So Denver likes to run and play defense to begin with, up against one of the worst rush defenses in the league, with Javonte Williams coming off his best game of the season, 88 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns last week. This is the perfect position for Denver to cram it right down their throats with the run game all day long. So, the shitty passing offense, the injuries have really brought us back to the 1980s, like league wide right now. A lot of teams are finding success in the run game. Rusty offense, fewer preseason games, injuries literally everywhere, bad quarterback play. We're seeing a regression back to run and play defense to win games. So I'm not arguing with it. It just is what it is, and I think that's exactly what we're going to see here. Is Denver lean on their run game against one of the worst rush defenses in the league. So with that in mind, we'll take Javonte Williams over 60 rushing yards -130. DraftKings is making it easier to win big. Deposit $50 and get $50 in bonus bets. With IDP Plus Insights and DraftKings, you'll be racking up those fantasy points in no time. Grab your bonus at idpplus.com/DraftKings. Alrighty, last 4 o'clock game could have been a good one, but I don't think we're getting Jaden Daniels, so it's no longer a good one. We got Bears at Commanders, Chicago -3, Washington +3, -110 either way. Over under of 43 points. That would have been a lot higher if Jaden Daniels was playing too. and Chicago minus 148 for money line, Washington plus 124. No bet, not touching this one because there's still a chance that Jaden Daniels can play as of today. And that is what this entire matchup hinges on. If Daniels plays, then this game is a true pick 'em. If not, then I would take Chicago money line. But when that information drops, the money line price is going to instantly change on us, and rather dramatically, I would think. So any bet we make now might get screwed up by outside factors later. So we're just going to skip it. Unfortunate because that would have been, one of the best games in this slate easily. But I just don't think we're getting Jaden Daniels right now. And this line looks like we're getting Jaden Daniels, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm not touching it. Feel free to go crazy if you'd like, though, and with whatever you come up with. So that'll take us to the Sunday night game. It's probably not going to be great. It is Cowboys at 49ers. Right now, Dallas is getting 4. Niners are giving 4, minus 110 either way. 46.5 for the over under. Money line is Dallas plus 160, San Fran minus 192. And I'm going to tweak this the other way. So Vegas thinking that San Fran's only going to win by 4, I think is not enough. I think they are being too conservative for once instead of me. So I'm going to go 49ers alt line minus 6.5 at plus 130. You could also go Jordan Mason over on his rush yards line. That was one of the bets I wrote up for the article. So there's lots of good info on that if you want to check that out in the article at IDP Plus. This Dallas defense in general, and especially the rush defense, is just Swiss cheese right now. So Mason's probably in for a huge game against this Cowboys team. So yeah, but back to this Niners minus 6.5 alt line plus 130, which is a great price. Even with this 49ers offense just shredded with injury, they've still got Jordan Mason. They've still got Kittle. Debo's out of the hospital. And they've still got their defense, right? So San Fran is already the best team in the league for offensive time of possession, where Dallas is one of the worst. There's a 6-minute difference in time of possession between Dallas and San Francisco. So we already know San Francisco is going to have a stranglehold on this game, limit the Dallas offensive possessions to begin with, right? So the San Fran ability to control the ball, the clock, limit those Dallas offensive possessions, and grind out a win is going to be what determines this matchup. Beyond that, Dallas offensively is the worst rushing attack in the league. They're only averaging 77 yards per game on the ground. That is absolutely horrendous. And that makes them one-dimensional. If you're the San Francisco defense, you're not worried about the Dallas rush attack. Your entire game plan is hinging on stopping Dak and stopping the throw. And San Fran is more than capable of doing that. They've got an excellent secondary, great cornerbacks, very, very good pass rush. Nick Bosa's back there, among others. So this does not look great for Dallas. It's going to be a long day of Dak running for his life, getting sacked, throwing to the wrong team. I'm sure it'll be ugly, but San Fran should win this one by at least a touchdown and probably a whole lot more than that. All right, and that'll take us to Monday night. Last game is going to be Giants at Steelers. Right now, the Giants are getting 6. Pittsburgh's giving 6, minus 110 either way. Very low total at 36 points. Definitely in for a stinker and a defensive struggle. Money line is Giants plus 210, Pittsburgh minus 258. And once again, we're going to take advantage of a weakness. We're going to say Najee Harris over 60 rushing yards at minus 140. He's cleared this line the last 2 games consecutively, and in 5 of 7 games total this season. He gets a Giants rush defense that allows 138 yards per game on the ground. That is the 8th worst across the entire league. It's not perfect, but this is still a solid Giants defense. But the total implies that we're in for a knife fight and a defensive struggle. And when we've seen that, we've seen a lot of Najee Harris. And Najee's looked real good lately. So this is not a huge line to get over. 60 rush yards is not a big ask. At minus 140 in this scenario, I think that looks pretty good. So that's what we're going to go with. Najee Harris, 60 rush yards over at -140. All right, that pretty much does it. That is week 8. Full slate of games this week. No one on bye, so we're looking good there. Just a reminder: use these as idea generators. Tweak it to your liking and fire away. Always look for a weakness or a trend or a stat that we can exploit and find the value within, and then craft a bet around exploiting that value. That is the trick to all of this. And even with that, we're still going to get our ass handed to us sometimes. It just is what it is. That's the betting world. But that's all I got. Thank you guys for listening. Good luck in week 8, and we'll do it again, same time, same place next week. Have a good one. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.